I think of a woman in this congregation who has a real gift for thoughtfulness. She has a way of focusing on other people's needs and problems, not in a nosy or intrusive way. She's just good at looking out for other people, seemingly to have the right thing to say, of encouragement or comfort, to let others know, hey, let's not forget about so-and-so. Where'd this come from? Certainly comes from her parents, who are thoughtful people. It also just seems to be a part of her personality. She's a caring person. And she actually puts effort in making other people a priority. So we could ask the question, is her thoughtfulness a gift from God? Does saying that it's a divine gift take away from her hard work and effort? Not necessarily. Does it seem like bragging to say, oh, well, yes, she has a gift from God? Maybe that would feel that way to her, but I don't think other people would think that. Does it add a layer of responsibility? If something is a gift of the Holy Spirit, it does seem like it should be used with particular care. Or how about a man in this congregation who's really good with numbers? He enjoys spreadsheets and analyzing data, can summarize things that others of us are not as adept at. And frankly, sometimes the church can get a little unprofessional and sloppy. So when he uses those skills for the church, it helps build up trust, make things more efficient. Is this a gift from God? We might not think so. It's so practical, so mundane. Can we say that talents with math and analysis are gifts of the Holy Spirit? Why not? St. Paul, in our first reading today that Scott read, Paul talks about the variety of gifts in a Christian community. Paul wants particularly to celebrate the talents of this congregation in Corinth, where he sends this letter. But Paul also wants to address some problems that have to do with gifts that people have. Apparently, some in that congregation in Corinth were really busy ranking people's gifts. Now, that's not unusual for people, rate some gifts better than others. We modern Episcopalians might be a little surprised at what some people are putting at the top of the list there in Corinth. There's a group in that congregation who said the best gift that God can give you, a real sign of God being in your life, is you speak in tongues. Now, we don't know exactly what that meant. It's some sort of ecstatic speech, people caught up in the Spirit in a worship gathering and, some sort of babbling praise. I have never done that personally. I have visited a Pentecostal church, and I've seen it done. Anyway, some people in Corinth thought, that is the best. That's the most important gift that someone can have in the church. And they weren't really valuing some of the other gifts that people were bringing. Paul thought speaking in tongues is fine. Actually, at one place he says, I speak in tongues as well as anyone else. Okay. But it's the whole ranking thing that he has a problem with. Paul sees that there is a variety of gifts. And they're all from God. They all matter. Certainly, the less showy ones need to be honored. So Paul gives lists of the gifts that a congregation could have. And so he goes on. Well, they're gifts of wisdom and knowledge and faith. Those are great. And healing and prophecy and miracles and tongues and discernment of spirits. And in other places, he goes on with other lists. Gifts include teaching and cheerfulness and generosity and so on. These lists are so long, it implies that Paul's not putting a limit on what the gifts are. He's showing the great variety of gifts that the Holy Spirit can give people in a congregation. So I think it's fair for us to build on, even expand Paul's list. I know a man in the church who has a real gift for humor. It seems that there's a combination of cleverness and timing and silliness. Humor can be tricky, though. Humor can be used to insult and to put down. It can easily backfire and make people feel awkward if it's done at the right time and not the right way. But I tell you, I've seen this man in a tense church meeting offer a little joke, a self-deprecating comment, and things get loose and the anxiety goes down and the meeting can go on in a much better way. Or how about, could a person have a gift from God for making money? That seems a little risky, doesn't it? I mean, the love of money is the root of all evil, and yet she's good at it. Good at investing and has business savvy, and she's generous with her money, using her income to make a difference for others. So maybe we need to have our list that goes on and expands. You know what it would be? Gifts for music and hospitality, gifts for organizing. In a congregation, no one person has all the gifts, but everyone has some gifts. And that can be the hardest part. Who, me? Can we claim our gifts? Can you this morning claim your gifts that your Creator has given you? To claim them and say, I'm going to put them to use. Now, just because it's a gift doesn't mean we don't have to work at it. Actually, training and effort are typically needed to improve any gift that God has given. Obviously, if you have a God-given gift for playing the piano, that doesn't mean you can stop practicing to get better. So maybe you this morning, you have a gift for listening and empathy. Great. But you're still going to have to keep working on yourself to improve that gift. There's one other aspect about gifts that St. Paul talks about. It can be really helpful to shift our thinking. He wants to make it clear that God gives gifts, he says, but they're not for you. They're at least not primarily for your personal benefit or enrichment. He says, to each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. For the common good. Whether it's humor or math skills or cheerfulness, that means there's a shift in seeing these gifts. Oh, that gift is my gift for me, to shift to say, no, it's for others, for the church, our neighbors, the world, the common good. This takes some effort, some selflessness, to find a way to use our gifts of the Holy Spirit to serve. It doesn't quite fit, but it can have an aspect of regifting. You know what regifting is? Regifting is where you get a present, maybe you don't even unwrap it, right? And then at the next birthday party or Christmas comes around, you give that gift to someone else. Regifting is not the best example because it implies we didn't want that item to begin with. Or maybe even that we're too lazy or cheap. I don't need another toaster. I'd rather not shop. I'm going to give it away. Okay, that's the bad side of the example. The positive part is to say, I've been given a gift. I need to re-gift it. I'm not going to keep it for myself. The goal is that it is for others. Oh, do we have a generous God, pouring out abilities and talents to God's people, to our congregation, to every individual in this room and watching online. May the Holy Spirit inspire us to use our gifts for the common good.